I have a huge backlog of topics right now thanks to this crazy time in history. But I have to drop everything to talk about this today. That crazy mofo surprised me again. I always thought his fight with the Federal Reserve was just trolling. You know, when you keep bashing the Fed, if one day the economy tanks, you will have someone to blame. It'll be a perfect messaging strategy. And if the economy goes well, of course, all the credits will be given to the supreme leader. So this way, he can't lose no matter what. I would do it if I were a little bitch like him. But for the life of me, I didn't expect him to actually try to put Jerome Powell in jail. Why? Trump seems to suggest that Powell is somehow sabotaging him. Why would a central banker do that? What could a guy like Powell gain from destroying the economy? I have a theory what Trump is thinking, but before I get to that, let me first remind you guys that central bank independence is a foundation of modern economies. Because the executive branch has such a big appetite to print money and spend money, the only way to restrain them is to have some economic nerds control how much money is printed. Not just Western countries have powerful central banks. Even Russia doesn't allow the president to fire the central bank governor. This lady has been serving that role for 12 years. Last year, she raised the interest rates to a mind-boggling 21% to combat inflation. And it's still 16% today. Putin was apparently not happy, but he refrained from talking shit because he knew very well that without a smart central banker, ruble would collapse and his ass would be cooked. I actually wanted Putin to fire her, but unfortunately he's not that dumb. China too. On paper, there's no such thing as an independent agency in China. Everyone is a Communist Party cadre. But they did put some safeguard mechanism against money printing. So China's inflation was pretty bad in the 80s and early 90s, always double digit. And then they passed a law that prohibits the government from taking money from the central bank. It required the government debts to be only financed from normal lenders who can't print money. And the central bank was repurposed into a monetary policy maker. That's how inflation was brought under control. We all know political purges are super common in China, but they never spill over to the central bank. This guy, for example, served as the head of central bank in 3 administrations for a total of 16 years. So you see, central bank independence is not optional. Every functional economy has it. Some countries can't manage their central bank too well, so what do? They just gave up their monetary autonomy altogether and started using the US dollar. Because losing some policy freedom is still better than hyperinflation. I'm not one of those Roman Empire geeks, but I heard people say that even the fall of Roman Empire had something to do with the tricks they used to mint more coins. So basically, politicians are short-sighted. They can't be trusted to print money. Lowering interest rates is equivalent to supplying more money. And even worse, if the Fed governors become too scared of Trump, they may even purchase treasury bills more than they should. The money will be printed on a diabolic speed. That's why we need those highly trained economic nerds who deal with numbers their whole lives to make monetary policy independent of politics. Of course, even nerds can be corrupt. What if they get greedy and make policies to enrich themselves, right? Well, it's possible. I'm sure you can find some central bankers in history who did insider trading or took bribery or something. But remember, they don't control the law enforcement. So unlike the presidents, they have to think twice. If they are caught tanking the economy for their own benefits, the executive branch will be more than happy crucifying them. So if you ask me, it's very hard for me to believe that someone like Jerome Powell would intentionally hurt the economy at the expense of his own reputation, let alone risking jail time. So why is Trump after him? I think there are 3 possibilities. The first possibility, Trump is doing it for his own personal finance. Maybe he doesn't want his businesses to pay high interest rates. But I don't find it very believable. Trump used to have a big debt problem, but in the past year, he earned so much money from his meme coins and whatever fraudulent schemes he was playing with. I don't think he has a debt problem anymore. The second possibility is that Trump has sincere policy disagreement with Powell. It still doesn't explain the urgency. Powell's term as chair will end in just 4 months. What's the point of this drama? Even if they successfully charge and remove Powell, it will take months anyway. Now, the third possibility is what I think makes the most sense. I think Trump has some information that the Fed doesn't know. What information? Most likely, it's the information about how soon the federal government will run out of money. He can't reveal that info because it's too embarrassing. But without that info, the Fed won't be able to help him. Based on how this administration is functioning, it's very hard to believe that their micro spending is according to the budget. Like 2 jets for Christie, flying cash to his girlfriend, and think about all those huge procurement contracts for ICE. You think those bloodthirsty assholes will have the patience to save every nickel for the country? How many cars have they crashed so far? This is not a crowd that's good at saving money. Every transaction is an opportunity for kickbacks, and all those radical policy changes, moving money from this program to that program. How many unfinished zombie projects are left out there? You know, a failed project is not written off in the book right away, so we don't know. They got some money from the tariffs, sure. But the tariffs go up and down and up again and down again, and the federal employees got fired and hired back. All these transaction costs were not part of the budget. Trump likes to do shit with executive orders. Well, the problem of executive orders is that they don't come with additional funding, so they have to move money around. Anytime you spend money on a new executive order, you have less money left for the programs funded by Congress. Just to offer you a rough picture. So on average, previous administrations had about 40 executive orders per year. The first year of this administration will have about 250. All these are unexpected interruptions to the cash flow. And one day those obligations from the affected programs will catch up to them. Exactly how soon, I have no idea. Probably only the top officials in the executive branch know the full picture. So I think this is what's happening. Trump feels the cash flow urgency that the public and the Fed don't know. So he has to go as far as prosecution to force the Federal Reserve to lower the interest rates and finance the inevitable debt explosion in the next few years. He knows very well it will cause other problems like inflation and stuff, but he has no choice. If he raises taxes on billionaires, they're gonna eat him alive. So prosecution it is. Pam is happy to lock up anyone for him, right? So yeah, let's see what happens.